Hello and welcome to Up to Four Players live stream.
Yes, hello.
We hope we are live and we hope you can hear us and see us, and this whole setup that we have here is working. My name is Aviv,
Hello, my name is Ran.
and if you follow us or read us, then welcome to our first official live stream. And if you kind of arrived here randomly and you don't know who we are the people behind the webcomics Up to Four Players, which we can find in www.up4players.com. Don't go there now because then you'll miss this, and that's just a shame.
You can multi-tab. There are many tabs. You can open as many tabs as you like. Uh, we're doing like an hour or so, 45 minutes, hour something of a drawing and Q&A. I'm watching the chat. Aviv, are you watching the chat?
No, because I have to focus on drawing and talking, and that's already two things too much for me to focus on.
Okay, let's start with the drawing then. We got several suggestions, but I think the one that we really liked was about a kobold, and I wanted it to be a cowboy. So it's going to be a cowboy kobold.
Yes, and apparently it's going to ride a ponita. Ponita? Ponita. It's a horse Pokemon, so yeah.
Okay. Is a horse? I think it's a pony Pokemon.
The name would suggest that. Yes, it
Yeah,
would.
but I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter because there aren't any horses in the Pokemon world. There are only ponytas. There are no animals in the Pokemon world. Hello. Though someone said hello, then I'm saying hello back. We will also be answering questions that you might have from the chat, and several questions that we got beforehand, and several questions that we think that people usually tell us. Good afternoon, says Testa. Is it afternoon where you are? Because we sort of aimed toward afternoon London time, not because it's really, really easy for us to do so, but because we think it's also, well, England is in the center of the world after all, you know.
Yes, it is.
The
We made up time.
Yeah, we did. I like how easily it's we. We made it. Yeah.
We live here now.
Yeah, we conquered most of the planets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tommy is here as well. And so we just felt like we don't know time zones. We don't get time. I don't get times. I don't know about Aviv, but I don't get it. So it figured like it would be like 10 hours before 2 is sometime in the morning, and 10 hours after 2 is sometime in the evening, and like both are fine. So I think, or 8 hours, it's, it works. Hey, here's Emily.
Hey, Emily.
Hey, Emily. We know Emily. That's basically it. For those of you just joining, Aviv is drawing a horse, even though we said Ponita, Aviv.
It will be... Okay, there we go. Now it's going to be Ponita, clearly.
And there's going to be a kobold, and it's going to be a cowboy kobold, because that's awesome.
Yes, and it's a suggestion we got from ChunW40 on Twitter?
Yes, on the Twitters. Oh, on the Twitters.
On the Twitters.
He just says he defined, or she defined, I don't know, Testa, they define afternoon as literally afternoon.
That's
or
true.
After midday. Yes, that's a good question. I don't know how to say afternoon. For me, afternoon is like 4, but then what's 2?
I think technically anything afternoon is afternoon.
Adasori asked if I finished the Castle Dassi, the Tiradasi. Stop before you finished. I should say I have my own YouTube channel in which I sometimes stream things. I mostly stream myself playing Minecraft, in which I build a castle for my wife, Dassi. The first one was for her birthday, I think, a few years ago, and now we started a second Dassi castle. Castle Dassi? It's a castle for Dassi.
Yes.
And I've been streaming that, but I've stopped, and that's because I've stopped building it. I'm in the middle of it, and it's like twice the first Dassi Castle Dassi. It's a lot of work. I'll be continuing it sometime soon. I don't know when, but if you subscribe to my regular YouTube channel, my own YouTube channel, you get, as usual, things. How is that a kobold, Aviv?
I'm just looking at kobold references online, And it has the snout, it has the ears, it should have a
Uh,
tail, right?
well, I think all kobolds have tail, but is it like the dog kobold or is it the lizard kobold?
It should be the dog kobold because that's what was requested.
Yes.
There's so many more lizard references.
I think the lizard kobold is I prefer my kobolds to be lizards because that connects them with dragons and that gives them a whole thing. Like the kobold thing is we think we are like dragons. We really like dragons, and I like it. It gives them their own personality apart from goblins and orcs, which are all generally swarms of evil creatures you can kill.
Well, since the reference is very, very varied and all over the place, and we only have an hour, it's going to be basically everything together. So
I think I've just dropped water on myself. Is that fine?
nice. As long as it's not on the microphone, you're good.
Okay. Okay, so let's start with some of the questions we got beforehand. Are you wearing any pants? Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
and
yes.
trousers as well, because
Trousers.
we are British, as mentioned.
Wait, so pants is like underpants for British,
Yes,
right?
undergarments.
Undergarments? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm wearing one of those. You can choose which. You can decide for yourself which is the one you want. I should say I want you to draw a ponyta, not only because it works with the whole cowboy thing, but also because I got one. It emerged from an egg,
Oh.
as they do, 2 days ago, and it was glorious because I'm really suspicious of eggs. I'm
In
for
general,
those
in your personal life?
in Go Pokemon Go. For those who don't
Okay.
know, in Pokemon Go you get eggs, and uh, you need to walk 2, 5, or 10 kilometers, and then they crack, and a Pokemon comes out. We don't know which Pokemon. It's supposed to be like I think rarer or stronger the longer the egg. The longer, the further the egg.
The longer the egg takes to incubate,
Yeah, but it's not time; it's distance.
the further. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Anyway, so from the first one I got Ratata,
Ugh,
which
really?
is I didn't even know you can get those from eggs, because they are everywhere. So why would anyone put them inside an egg?
Yeah, it must have crawled inside the egg and ate whatever was inside, and then,
Yum.
yeah, as ratatas do.
So I got a ponyta, and that's very exciting. So that's what I asked you to do it because I really like those. I think the description of a ponyta or of the thing that evolves to has something like, the hoofs are so hard they are a million times harder than diamond.
Yes, and the tail burns in like 30,000 degrees Celsius or something.
Yes, yes.
I think isn't it your brother's favorite Pokemon?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah, for
because
that
of this
reason.
description. Yeah, yeah. So that works well. Okay, here's a question we got, and feel free to ask if you have anything to ask. I don't know. I think we basically we just say everything we have to say anyway on our podcast. So I don't know if there's anything to ask us that's interesting to anyone,
Yeah,
but we
and
got a few questions beforehand. One we got, it's a good one. Will we be doing more comics based on role-playing systems like we did with Edge of the Empire, in which we explain it? It's both an excellent summary of the rules and a great story, they said. Well, thank you. I think it was part of a great story. I don't think the summary itself was story. But oh yes, we're totally going to do that. No idea when or on what. I would actually love to get some suggestions. The problem is, it takes a lot of work to do that kind of strip. Do you remember how long we worked on it?
are you talking about the one explaining the rules specifically?
Yes, the two strips that explain the rules. I think it was like 2 or 2.5 weeks that we basically worked on that.
Yeah, I think just the art on one of them was about 7 or 8 hours straight. And obviously there's a lot of back and forth because the whole thing is really dependent on both text and art working together. So it's quite a bit more complicated than a regular strip. What are you doing?
I'm writing down. Oh, yes.
Oh,
When I
yeah,
write
I
things
can see your
down,
fingers.
because it's just where the camera is. I'll move it aside a bit. There you go. um, I'm just answered something on the chat, and so I had to use my fingers.
Okay.
Um, the problem is it's very hard to do script wise. When do we need to tell? First, we need to sit down and think what are the things we need to tell. What are the main rules, the big rules? How much can we get into specifics with each of them? Because we need to be a bit specific to give the characters something to say that is character-like, so it will be light and funny and give you a reason to read it and make it different from just reading a lot of text. That's a thing. And then we need to place it, and I think we had like we had two previous iterations before the one you finally saw, in which we changed things. There was one that was just 1 page and then 2 pages, but things were totally different. And then after Aviv actually sits down and draws some of it, we need to change things again, and then we need to change some text again, because every time after you see a strip finalized as a strip, you always need to change some words, because then for some reason it's different. It's different from how you pictured it. And that's awesome, by the way. I think that's one of the amazing things about
Working together.
yeah, and about comic strips. I mean that you there's something different from just reading it and seeing it. And the text, even when we imagine it, it just whatever. Anyway, that kind of thing can't just happen, and it required both of us to work a lot and with each other. Yeah.
And we hate that. So
the problem with back and forth is that we need time exclusive for it, and most of the time, I don't know if you know it, most of the time we do our own things. I do the scripts. Well, we gather together once every 2 weeks to suggest ideas, and we drink coffee. And Aviv has her yucky biscuits that Loaker that I hate.
best biscuits.
No, they're not good at all. And then we sit down and we think about strips for the like next 2 or 3 weeks, and then we go home. I write some of them. Aviv starts drawing them. We talk again about strips basically only when there's some problems on one of our sides, or when we upload them, and then we come up with the post if there's anything that needs more work. Sharing, always before sharing it, we make sure with the other that the phrasing is interesting, and that we mention everything and everyone that we want to mention and stuff like that. So making a strip that requires a lot of back and forth is basically a lot of work, and we have to find more time for it than usual, because we actually need to find time in which we will sit down together. We did it with the previous one. We had to do a meeting, online meeting, in which we sat down and talked about specifically that strip using Hangout and share screen and stuff like that. And we don't usually do that. However,
yeah, all that being said,
yes, Mirit on the chat says Loaker is made of pure magic, and
thank you, Mirit. Yes.
How do I ban people from chat? Add, remove, no, I. Well, that's unavoidable. That some of you will be wrong. However, it was a very good strip. The explanation about Edge of the Empire, and it got a lot of views. Guys, you don't understand. Aviv, so far, this is the, I don't think even you know, we get a lot of hits from Reddit. Almost all of the hits that we get regularly from Reddit are from those threads.
Amazing.
Edge of the Empire, yes. Because it's useful, so people keep referring to it.
Yeah, I
And
love that. I mean, if we actually help people start playing Edge of the Empire, that's awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I would love to do another one. And we got a different question relating to that. Will we be doing summary strips like that for board games? And I think the answer for that is no. I I I don't know. I see no reason to do a summary for a board game. Go and read the instruction manual.
But
Go
can't you
and watch.
say the same thing for a role playing
Well,
system?
in role playing game, I think there's a big difference. First of all, there are a lot of people on the internet that post videos explaining games. There's what his name running. I don't remember what his name. Here's a name. Here's a name.
Good. Yeah.
Board gamers from the chat, please remind me. What's his name running through games, in which he runs through games and he explains games. And there's also Watch It Play, in which, stuff. Rado, yes, right, Testa, thank you. Rado, RHADO, runs through games. I think that's how it's called. And there's the Dice Tower, and a lot of, most reviews of games also explain the basics of the games at about the same level in which we explain it in our summary. And and anyway, people are going to hate me for saying it, but I think in a way there are board games are more specialized than more specialized and shorter term enjoyment than role playing games. I mean, teach a man Edge of the Empire, and he will Edge of the Empire for the rest of his life.
Or she.
Or she, but I said a man.
That's right.
Okay. So
Teach a person.
Teach a woman.
Yes.
To I don't know. You're going to hate me for that. To board game. I won't say names, but teach a game to board game, and they will board game 10 or 12 times. No, I mean most board games you play for like 10 times, 12 at most. Not all board games, but most. And if you are a person that plays more than that, then you are probably so into board games that you know all of the channels that I've mentioned before, and you will read the rule book anyway, and you will read the reviews and everything. So there's no reason for us to do a summary for you. We need to do a summary for the people who won't be reading all of it. And like they said on chat, role-playing rules are basically 240 pages. And when you just come and look at the book, you don't know what are the important bits. And you can't just summarize it to yourself. You see a huge book, you see a board game, you're saying to yourself, this is playable. You see a huge book, you say, this is an encyclopedia. So, and it basically is an encyclopedia. I think the summaries are more important for role-playing games, therefore, than for board games. Tester also says in the chat, I appreciate the difficulty balancing mechanics and storytelling in comics. What about writing some amusing vignettes from RPG sessions that you've experienced, then explain the context in comments? That's something that we thought about. And that's actually, I think, still in the pipeline for the future.
I think in general, the joke needs to work regardless of the post. I mean, you don't want the strip to only be understood by people who know the game completely. It has to be a good joke that works, a good story that works, and if there's extra stuff to talk about, we'd be happy to do it in the post.
I agree. I think most of our strips are viewed by people who don't even enter the website. They share it on Twitter, they share it on Facebook, and they just share the picture. And there are a lot of people, by the way, lately that just share the picture. Take it, download it, and share it, or even screenshot it and share it. That's strange. you can just share the picture. That's fine. And as long as you don't edit it, we're fine with it. And they will miss the joke unless they read the post. Now, not all of it is. Sorry, I have to stop for a second. Aviv,
Yep.
Why the kobold? Yes.
Yes.
Why? How many fingers do we have? They.
About 4.
About 4.
Yes. Is that not anatomically
I have no idea.
Somethingly?
I don't know. I love the Ponyta's face, however.
Thank you. He's a cowboy, so let's say he lost one in a gunfight.
That reminds me, the next character I'm playing is probably a female rogue that lost 2 fingers.
Well, I'm playing a character that lost a whole hand, so
Yes, but you did it during play.
That's
so
true.
It's sort of your problem. Adasori, I can't pronounce it. Adasori, you guy, you dude, you person.
I think it's you, Dudette, if I'm not mistaken.
Adasori, you can just tell us. Tell us.
Yes, tell us.
Mentioned that Aviv, you once did that Viginet thing with the Purple Orange. We used to play together D&D 4, like, oh my god, it was like 5 years ago.
Yes.
No, 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Anyway, it was a very long campaign for us. It was like 3.5 years, something like that. And we were quite invested in it, and we finished it. I mean, we bought the characters to level 30, the story ended, everything was amazing. Mail from Israel, and it's A.D. Sasori. Good for you,
Okay.
A.D. Sasori. And you did, I think, a drawing or two of scenes from the Purple Orange.
Yep.
As
a short comic page.
Yes, as a short comic. Mm-hmm. But I think while it was a good action scene, I think you do it because it was a good action scene. I don't think it looked out of place. Without explanation, I don't think it could have worked.
Yeah, definitely not in a strip like ours, which is based on people knowing they come twice a week to read a joke.
Yes.
And that's it.
Well, the thing is, I think we managed to do some standalone jokes as a part of a bigger thing. Like during the Age of the Empire, there were a lot of standalone jokes that required some connotation, some background that we provided during the previous strips. Like, I think that a lot of the things about Joe, you remember we were actually worried about that when we did that strip. Joe is very, how to say it? Jay, I'm sorry, not Joe. Jay is based on Joe. Joe is excellent. He just had his birthday like 2 days ago.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe. No, Jay is so unlike Joe. He's very apologetic, okay? And he never wants to hurt anyone. And he was willing to even let go of his character, hand his character to someone else, if that will make it more fun for them. As long as you're having fun, I'm delighted. Good and all is well and good, but if you don't know a bit about him before that specific strip, you might not get it. And so Aviv worked a lot on his expression. It was very important in that strip. And we worked a lot about, we changed the phrasing a few times to make it even clearer in case this is the first time you see Jay for some reason, I don't know. But in the same way, if we like start a story arc about our main characters in play, we can probably do a few short scenes that are funny by themselves thanks to the characters. And because the character, I mean, I think everyone wants to see Lily, who is named Chavatzelet in Hebrew, by the way. That's one of the strange things I think we have in our strip. Because Lily is a name of flower and Chavatzelet is a name of the flower, but it's not the same. And I don't remember why I don't think we had any reason to do that. Anyway, if Lily is playing a necromancer, very evil and dangerous. If you remember from the strip what we did about it, somewhere in my mind at least, they are playing that campaign, and someday we will show some scenes from that campaign, and it will be hilarious. And these scenes are probably going to be based on things that we went through on our games, because like most everything else, that's the main inspiration for everything that we do. Yep. And one of the reasons I think we even, to be frank, one of the main reasons I find it important to have a weekly campaign with Aviv and Ev and Dasi is to create such things for the comics.
That's the only reason we ever do anything in our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's based on reality. Yeah. Pink. Well, it's not beer technically. It's cider, but still.
You have a thing in your hand.
Yes.
I'm drinking water because I am fresh and natural.
I'm drinking pink cider because it's yummy.
This is
And
a great glass, by the way. It's a really
oh, it's a good glass.
Yes, it's a good glass. I like it. It's I got it for birthday, and it's a great birthday piece. Glasses are the gift that keep on giving because you always use them. No?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay. So why do you call Evyatar Ev? Because it's shorter.
It's shorter and it's easier to say around here, because if you try to pronounce Evyatar Evyatar in any kind of accent that's not Israeli,
Yes.
it's kind of hard to say, and it's very hard to understand if you don't know the name.
We also have a friend called Asaf, who in England calls himself Adam.
No.
Seriously, he orders pizza by the name of Adam because otherwise just take an hour to say Asaf, Chef, Asaf, Shurf, Asaf, Shurf.
Oh, last week we were in Thirsty Meeples in Oxford with our friend Avshalom. So we were a table of Av, and Ev, just to make it simple for everyone. It wasn't. But they never called their name, so that was fine. Good story, I know.
Good. So that's it's a common thing. Israelis have British local names, and something to think about when you name your kids. By the way, if you want them to ever be able to walk anywhere in the world, they will either have to change their own name, not in the birth certificate or whatever, but just in everyday use, or just give them something that's useful from the start, like B. No, B is confusing. No, don't go with B. I don't know.
May.
May. Okay, I can go with May.
Dana. Dana's good.
Dana.
We'll have a list.
Sure. Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh, for example. Yeah.
What else? Yeah. I want to say another thing about the Edge of the Empire strip, in case no one knows, because I think I haven't mentioned it in the post. The idea for explaining rules in comic form is not ours. It's important to note, not that there's anything new under the sun. No idea is new, but this one specifically is inspired by the Order of the Stick board game, Dungeons of Dokar, I think, in which there was an explanation of the rules in comics form. There was just the regular rule book, but there was also, I think, only 4 pages that explained the rules. That was very good.
I'm sorry, that's I just got a text from my mom asking if she would prefer that if I would prefer that they had called me May. And no, I love my name. It's great, and it works in English as well, and I love you, Mom.
Fine, sure. Well, you know what? If we stop for a moment, this is a very good kobold riding a very happy ponyta.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. It's a great old school kobold when there were dogs. Yeah.
It's kind of a Wile E. Coyote kind of Wile E. Koboldi.
Wile E. Koboldi, yes.
Yeah.
I love it how they always have like room for the ears in the hat.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if this is something that they have to do themselves, like tear.
I think in the Wild West they must have had someone to do it for them.
The kobolds from the Wild West.
Yes.
Okay.
We're 30 minutes in, so maybe I don't know how many people joined after we did a little introduction.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it again?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Up to 4 Players. My name is Ran, this is Aviv, and we are currently drawing and answering questions. We are basically a webcomic based in London, and we are ad-free. We do a lot of gaming things, but not only gaming things. And we're trying to be both funny and clever. And if we can't manage one of them, we probably can't manage the other, and then we have nothing. We're left with nothing. And if you would like to support us, then first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, may I please point you at patreon.com/UT4P, or just enter our website, up4players.com. There's a link over there as well. Again, we're not, and I think this is the thing that I find most important to say again. We have no ads. We have no revenue from ads, which basically means we have no revenue from anything unless a person decides to simply hand us money using Patreon. And this is, it may be a bit risky, but I think this is a form of monetization that I really believe in, and I want it to work.
And there are some people who support us that way already, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
There are actually, I can say right now, there are currently 34 patrons. There's a new one from today, handing us about $120 per month.
Amazing.
Thank you very much. That's very useful for us because we do plan on making this more and more part of our actual day job. And you might have noticed we invest quite a lot of time and effort in doing this very well, because if you don't invest a lot of effort and make sure that what you do is very good, don't do it at all. No? I mean, no?
I don't know. I mean, it's better to invest a lot of time and do things very well, but it's also nice to just do things. It's better to do things than not to do them at all, I think.
That's okay. You need to strike a balance.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go with that. Fine.
Yes.
Tommy, no. You're welcome. So just, I'll have to... Tommy says, mostly I'm doing this to prove the point to Aviv, because she said to me once, you can't really make a living like this.
We're not, so that's fine. I'll still stand by my point.
Tommy is from Tomix. Tommy, post some link to something that you do on the chat so people can see. Who is doing, how do you say in English, Osechai? Doing a marvelous job.
Yes.
Comics-wise in the Israeli front, and I think that in English as well. You have, I think that you're doing Patzpatzim in English now as well. So link to that as well. You can't link in the chat?
What?
Damn YouTube! Okay, then just send us a link and we'll post it later on. I don't care. We can just link things. The thing I want to say about the rule summary before we finish with that subject is, I'm thinking the next one should probably be Savage Worlds.
Savage Worlds.
Yes.
It does have fairly simple rules.
Yes.
And it has a few special little things about the rules that are unique to Savage Worlds and will be quite easy to explain in comic form, I think. Plus, it's an awesome system. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Good.
We need to find the reason story-wise for them to play it. We won't be just doing a summary. It needs to be part of something bigger. But I don't think that's actually that hard.
Panel 1, Nadav says, hey guys, let's play Savage Worlds.
Whoa.
There we go.
Whoa.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on your toes.
I am the writer. Panel 1, Rotem says, yes, play.
Yes, please.
Good.
Nice.
English, nice. Yes, Savage Worlds is very good. And the dice explode, which that sounds like it can be funny, right?
Yes.
You can do something funny exploding.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting. You said you won't be doing it, you won't be able to do it in 45 minutes and an hour, but you're doing very well.
Oh, it's 35 minutes. Maybe I'll even be able to do some inking?
A bit of thinking.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Wait, so there are flames on the top and the tail and
yes.
legs?
There's flames. I'm looking at the reference right now. Maybe can I drag it here so you can see it as well? Look at that! Amazing. So yeah, there's flames pretty much everywhere that a normal horse has hair. and on legs as well. So I'm thinking the kobold must be really, really hot. But they must, surely they have some, because they're related to dragons, they're
What?
heat resistance.
Are
Yeah?
you serious?
No, I'm asking you. You're the kobold
No, I
expert.
don't think so. I don't think they're related to dragons. I don't. They are not dragon type, so no.
So maybe
Wait,
the
are they?
expression,
Oh my God, now
maybe
I
the insane expression he has on his face is because he's just burning underneath.
Ponyta. It's a fire horse. It's type fire. That's it. And it's evolved to Rapidash. I love these names. Rapidash is an amazing name. Whoever translated it to English did an amazing job for all the Pokemon. Really, I'm just think how it just wouldn't work. No one would play Pokemon if the names weren't short and descriptive
And funny.
and funny and you know, feel like English. Like if one of them was named Kyoto, then it's not English because
It's the name of a
it's
place
a name.
that's not in it. Yes,
No, it's Japan. So
that's true.
yeah, good work, Ran.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. Here's another question that we got before.
Is no one asking questions in the chat as we go?
No, mostly. Well, there are some questions actually. Why Nadav is always the DM? Because that's a good question.
Well, that's kind of very much based in reality, isn't it?
Yes, I'm basically most of the time the DM. I think we're planning on doing a strip in which Rotem is the game master for a role-playing game. And we're also playing on one when Rotem is the initiator of a board game night, because we really want to encourage the idea of people who are not used to being the initiators or the GMs or at a place of, you know, like that. Dare against the machine and go and do it anyway. That's something that we believe in, and we want to encourage people to do that. So while Nadav is the prime GM, the default GM, it's mostly there so we can utilize it in all sorts of ways. Like for example, if we want to now show something that requires a GM, we'll just use Nadav because everyone knows he's a GM already. But we can also do something with Rotem trying to be a GM, reflected by Nadav in a way, because everyone knows the GM already. So it's a good thing that characters retain a specific type of place in the story, specific attributes, specific roles, both in-game and out of in-game. In-game is for more playing games. How do you say in-world? Would you say in-strip?
Well, they are the comics characters, what they have outside of the strip.
Anyway, the next question. Tommy's, by the way, link is Tomix with an X, Tomix, dash comics, followed by .com/English. So check that out. And Testa is encouraging punniness, which is something that I am against. Tommy, when you finish your board game, can you send it and have our characters play it? Well, currently we don't really do things like that, but you know, we don't mind getting an email and talk about it. We like, when I'll have some things I'm working on. Yes, that is a Panita. Thank you very much. Yes, Testa, this is your fault. When I'm working on some games right now, one of them is, by the way, going to have the starter set out in like, oh wow, less than a month probably. And the other, we just finished editing, and the other one is probably due 2017. We will of course have something to do with that on our strips. We are not against doing our own stuff on the strips, but we are not against doing other people's stuff as well if it's cool and we want to encourage it. So we can talk about it, sure, fine. AD Sasori suggests maybe Rotem is the Savage World experts, and she wants to teach the group to the system, so she will be able to GM. That's kind of against character. One of Rotem's endearing properties, I think, is that she's always the novice. She's the one that really wants to know, but don't know yet, so we can have someone explain it to her.
And she has a very short attention span, so I don't know if she'll ever be an expert on a system.
Yes, she'll never be an expert. Okay, that's a very good point. She's the one that Nadav will need to find a short explanation for, and by way of her, that's why we'll do it. What's the question? Rotem, what is your favorite thing to draw?
Is that a question for Rotem or for Viv?
Yeah, yes, Rotem. No, but it's for me. My mistake, sorry. What is your favorite thing to draw? Can I try to answer that?
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think you enjoy drawing people and faces.
Yes, characters in general is my favorite. In the realm of characters specifically, I guess it veers more towards the fantasy type things.
How is a character more fantasy than not?
Well, if you try to think about a character in a role-playing game, so a D&D character would be more fantasy than a... Give me a character that's not D&D. Give me a system that's...
Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So it's because of the equipment.
It's the equipment. It's the clothes, the accessories, stuff like that. And also, I enjoy not hyper-realistic stuff, more stylized, cartoony things, various degrees of cartoon. Yeah.
I'm trying to think when I saw you drawing something. What there was that? What's his name from Preacher? I keep forgetting his
Cassidy.
name. Cassidy. Yeah, you drew a very lifelike Cassidy.
That was practice more than like that was from photo reference, so that's different. It's not. I feel it's not like I'm drawing something from the imagination. I'm just sort of copying a photo.
Cheating. Okay. Okay.
Studying.
Plagiarism.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Stealing.
Okay. Stealing. Yes.
And even then, I prefer to do it with humans or characters or animals rather than drawing scenery or drawing cars or something from a photo, because then I would fall asleep of boredom in the middle, and that doesn't give anything to anyone.
I've seen you just redraw like 7 times the back of the leg. How does that work?
Well, first of all, while I'm talking, I have to give much less attention to the drawing, so the lines are not. And as I'm drawing the lines, my speech is becoming slurred. I have quite like Rotem. I have a very short attention span, both across time and across different things that I do. But also, in general, when I ink, I don't like to draw a line and then erase the parts I don't like and then redraw it. My finger is constantly on the undo button all the time, and I could just draw the same line 5 or 6 or 20 times until I get it right. And it's much better now that I have this lovely Cintiq, and maybe, no, I don't want to move the camera because it took me like 5 minutes to place it exactly there. But the Cintiq basically is, if you know Wacom tablet, it's a kind of, I don't have one around because I have a Cintiq now. It's a kind of a tablet that connects to the computer, and you draw on it and you look at the screen and you kind of draw on the side and look at a different spot. And it works, and it's great. It's much better than drawing with a mouse, God forbid, or on paper. Hey. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Some of us only have mice, sorry.
Well, if you want to draw on the computer, just get a tablet, really. But the Cintiq is an actual screen, it's an actual monitor that I draw on. So the point is that I have to draw the same line a lot less now, because it's much more exact and it's much more convenient. But still, while I'm talking, everything is a bit is a bit more difficult.
Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. Do you need me to talk? Should I talk?
No, I can talk. I'll just yeah. I mean, I've run out of things to talk about now specifically, but
Okay.
I'm good with doing both.
There's another question from before that I actually haven't got to yet.
Yes.
I would like to see more strips on Game X. That's not the question, but someone. I mean, it's a thing that we get sometimes.
Okay. I've never played X, so I don't know.
You should try it out. It was kickstarted. It was kickstarted, and there's there's a big problem with doing funny based on specific games. Whenever we have a funny idea on a specific game, we think, I think, like 17 times before we have the finished strip, because the first question, which is always very hard, is how many people actually know this game, and how well do they know it? Because if you're doing a joke on, let's say, Above and Below, okay, I think we've talked about this point exactly in the post, so I'll be brief. Not many people know Above and Below. There are some very funny things to say about the way the game is played. There's like the thing that you go adventuring and you get to see, and it's funny because okay, it goes like this. There's this book, right? Okay, let's use the player's handbook. I played D&D earlier today, so I have the player's handbook right here. And so there's this book, and there are a lot of paragraphs in it, and each paragraph is for a specific thing that happens. And when a player, sends his guys, it's a board game. It's not a role-playing game. When a player sends his guys on adventure, we roll some dice and we see which paragraph you get to read, but you don't read it. Another player reads it aloud to you. And there are a lot of funny things that can happen here, because maybe the player that reads it aloud is reading the wrong paragraph, or maybe he reads it aloud and then he sees the treasure that you can get from it, because that's part of the thing. That's one of the reasons you don't read it yourself, because you need to do a choice, and behind each choice there's some sort of treasure or punishment or something like that, and you're not supposed to know. You are supposed to do the choice blindly, well, based on the story information, not on game, not on mechanic information. Like, would you like to help the ant people, or do you want to attack them? And whatever you choose, you get stuff based on it. So maybe the person who reads this reads something wrong, or his eyes like goes. I'm actually thinking about Lily. Her eyes go like this when she sees what amazing loot you're going to get, and so she does something like, I don't know, telling you the wrong thing. There are a lot of things that can be funny here, and we did none of them because we don't know how well the game is known. How like we have 20 people who know the game. Okay, 5,000 people who know the game really well. That's great, but our strips are viewed by a lot more than 5,000 people, and we need those people to think to themselves, that was funny. Let's return in 3 days and check the next one, and not think to themselves, what? And close the tab and never think about us again. We prefer the first outcome, not the second, and we can choose, not blindly. So it's hard to do about specific games. You need to be quite general about the specific games, or you cheat, like what we're going to do in the Cosmic Encounters streak that we are working on, in which we explain some of the rules in the first panel, because the joke is about that. But that's not the only reason we do it, because if we only, well, sometimes that's enough actually. Sometimes we explain the rules just so we can have a joke about it. That's fine. That's enough.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's problematic to explain the rules in order to reach the punchline and all in the space of like 3 or 4 panels, because every joke that you have to explain, even if you don't explain the punchline, you just build up to have a punchline, it kind of ruins it, inevitably. We have, I mean, the one I can think back to is the XCOM one, which we don't really explain the rules, but we sort of give a pretty detailed view of the game as it goes to get to the punchline. But that was a massive strip. It was really, really long.
There's a reason we didn't do another thing like it. It was a big strip to do. A lot of panels, a lot of things. Yeah.
It was good. I like it. I really like it.
Everyone really liked it.
Yeah, but if we do 2 webcomics a week, it's a problem to make one of them like this.
Yeah. Unless, it becomes your day job. And then,
sure, one day.
Sure, we'll do, no problem. We'll do it as many, like if one of you wants to donate $1,000 per month, that can be nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, we are for that. Mirit asks, would you consider creating strips that are based on computer games as well? Well, we did like 2. We did on Telltale games, and on the generic Telltale formula of games, we did one, and we did about Hearthstone, and I think we probably did something else that I forgot.
We did Blizzard.
Yeah, we did one thing about the Heroes of the Storm as well, and we did Pokemon Go. That's a video game, but that's like 4 strips out of 100. That's, I think, yeah, that's the ratio we wanted. Yeah. Why?
I think the rationale behind it is that there are quite a lot of webcomics about video games and not that many about tabletop games. I don't know if that's the situation now, a year and a half after we've started.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We are, by the way, I don't know if the readers know, on Monday, it's going to be our 100th strip.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. We're celebrating by taking a week off after that.
That's true.
I think it's important to find your niche. It's important for every content creator, and these days,
and every living thing as well.
Yes,
evolution teaches us.
That's actually a good point. If you want to survive, you need to find a niche.
Yeah.
And we live in a day and age in which there's so much crowd and so much ability to reach very, very specific crowds that it's important to find your niche. I'm even thinking we were even worried that we are too spread out, even with our current I don't know how to call it, variety, our current
yes,
topics. We do a lot of topics. We do board games and role-playing games, but they're not the same thing. And we also do things about London, and we also do general geeky things. And that's a lot of different things. And there's room enough in this world for a strip based only on
XCOM.
But there is a strip based on an XCOM.
Fact.
And there's room for it, and there's room for like a game based only on the experience of kickstarting board games.
Yep.
There's a room for a web strip, a weekly web strip, even twice a week, for a strip that only focuses on that. I don't know how funny it can be. One of the reasons we chose to have like 4 topics is because when something runs dry, we can count on one of the other 3 wells to schlurp from, and that's very useful to us. But we changed. I don't know if you've noticed, we've changed our tagline from is the tagline? I don't know.
Kind of.
From a webcomic about gamers and games to webcomic about tabletop games, because we figured that after we started doing more role-playing things, and we started giving role-playing some more room. One of the reasons is that Aviv and I are mainly role players, and board game is only second place, and so we should really have the strip do have some more room for role play. We changed it to tabletop because we want a little bigger. Well, the hat need to have a little wider brain. So when a person comes to our website and see a strip that is about, for example, above and below, he doesn't automatically think, this strip is about board games, it's not for me. Because, so we change it to tabletop to make it a bit clearer that, no, we are not games. That's too generic. We are for things on the table, okay? There are mainly like two things, there are also miniatures, but board games and role-playing games, both of them are table-based. We have a lot of things in common, both audiences. We see eye to eye. There are a lot of role players that will never touch a board game because they are crazy. A lot of board gamers that will never touch a role play because they are insane. So but the Venn diagrams, yeah, they overlap. There's a lot of overlapping, and we're fine with you being in one, outside of the overlapping area. That's fine. Sure, good for you, dude. It's just important for us that you know that we are where we are. So we manage expectations with the audience. If we would just say, we do funny things, yay! We actually haven't told you anything and you don't know what to expect from us. Ophir Dotan, yeah, you're here in time, yeah. And Emily says congrats for 100 strips. Yeah, we think so as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, now that we're nearing the end of the hour,
Yeah.
we should, Eran mentioned before that we have a Patreon page. And this kind of live stream event where we draw and talk and answer questions and stuff is currently our only goal for the Patreon page. It's currently on $500. We're not sure we're going to keep it there, but it is going to be a goal. So when we reach a certain amount per month, we want to start doing this kind of thing on a monthly basis. So we would love to hear from you, either as, I'm not sure if you can comment this thing after we're done, or comment.
Yeah, I think you can still comment in the.
It's just a video. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a video now.
So comment either here or on our Twitter or Facebook or anywhere you want. Tell us if you like this sort of thing. Tell us what you would change, or I don't know, anything you can think of. Where you're from? We'd love to know where you're from, because we're kind of choosing a time based on trying to make it work for as many people as possible around the world.
That's a good point. If we find like mostly Mongolians watch us, then we will like wake up at 5 in the morning or whatever it takes if it's things. Patrons only, no, we don't really enjoy doing things for Patrons only. We would prefer not to. We do little things. We like, I think once every 2 weeks or so, Aviv uploads something for the Patreon only stream. A bit of behind the scene look, something nice or funny, or ask them for ideas about things. But we don't enjoy the idea of exclusive. We want everyone to have everything. We're insane. One last question, I think, before we finish, from AD Sorry. When you put the comics as the 10,000 shekels goal in the Shadow of Dwarves crowdfunding, did you thought it would be such a big thing? So if you don't know, Aviv and I wanted to do a webcomic for ages, because we used to do one for ages ago. And now, like ever since 2014 or something, we thought, we started thinking about doing things together. We did something called the Singularity, which you will learn about more soon, because we're thinking about sharing some of it with you. And it was a huge project. It was a gigantic project for us. It was kind of bigger than up to 4 players, and we want to show you some of that. But we had no idea or even the concept of a weekly webcomic, because how do you just start? How do you just wake up one day and say, let's start, dedicate 15 hours a week to webcomic?
Only crazy people do that.
It's just, you need something to initiate, to change. Be the force for change. So we had a crowdfunding. I think we have the story on our about page on up4players.com. There was a crowdfunding for my Israeli podcast on the Shadow of Dwarfs, which is RPG advice and stuff like that. And the crowdfunding was for a website and for some maintenance and for all sorts of things. And it went really well. It went really, really well. And we kept finding new stretch goals. And the 10,000 shekel stretch goal was, you know what, Aviv and Eran will start a webcomic like they did once before. So we did.
Yeah.
That happened. And so this happened.
It's kind of like doing crazy things on a bet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to lose that bet. Yeah, whatever. I'll do a webcomics.
But I think from the moment we started, although like the Hebrew version of this strip, and there's a Hebrew version if you don't know, is hosted on the it's on up4players.co.il, which redirects you to on the Shadows of Dwarves, the dwarves.org.il website, and it's we consider it as part of the Israeli podcast in a way. It doesn't have its own webpage, for example. We share it through our Israeli podcast webpage, Facebook page. But the English, I mean, it went very well. That's basically it.
Yeah, we're very happy with it now, I think.
Yeah, it works. Well, thank you everyone that helped it work by enjoying it. That's very important, and being here, that's important to us as well. Remarking about you don't understand how important it is for us to just know that. I think that's one of the strongest things in likes in Facebook for creators, content creators. A like is like, yeah, I've seen it, and that's so important for us to know that. Yeah, sure. We just want to know that someone consumes our creation, and a like is enough. Well, share is great as well, but a like is enough. Sharing is caring. They say it's a idiom. Is it an idiom?
Yes.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
It's totally. I mean, it's truth. It really is, and it's like it's a thing that 100 years from now people will keep on saying, because sharing is simply show of caring. Also, patting on the back and on the head. I'll take that, but that's less feasible, unfortunately.
Yes, also creepy when it's just like in the street.
Yeah, no, not without warning.
Okay, yeah.
With prior warning.
Yes.
Head petting
That's
works
nice.
for me.
That's very nice, yes. Yeah, so there we go. Managed to do some
Yay.
inking. Maybe I'll even color it before we upload it to somewhere, I don't know. Thank you for being with us. You can read our webcomics. I'm sure everyone knows, but we should say this because that's the kind of thing you say. It's at up4players.com, and you can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus even.
And all the links for that and for our Patreon page and for for where we'll place the final picture as well are in the dooley-doo.
Dooley-doos.
Down there. That's it. I was yes, it looks awesome. Emily says it looks awesome. I agree.
Thank you.
Great. I really like the kobold. Really
Thanks for Chun W40 for the suggestion.
Yes. And thank you, Aviv.
And thank you, Eran, for being with me.
Excellent. And we'll leave you with a song.
I wasn't close enough to the stop streaming. Wait. Goodbye.